Hi, I'm Denise, and I'm an amateur for life. I'm learning every day, and I'm trying to see what I can share so that we can learn from each other. Are you somebody who just got a new job, or you've been at your job and you're pretty happy? Your relationship, if you have one or are interested in one, is going really well, or right now you don't want for anything. You have a lovely group of friends, your loved ones are safe and sound, or you just moved into your own new apartment, you're totally happy, but all of a sudden you're just sad. You get this wave that washes over you, and all of a sudden, it's like as though everything has hit you at once, and yet nothing is really good enough, right? And of course, things like this could mean a lot of different things. Part of this could be a symptom of something bigger, of course, something that could be diagnosable, like depression. I am not someone who can do that. I can't diagnose anybody, but I don't want to dismiss the fact that that is something that is possible. There could be a chemical imbalance in a person's brain that may be causing this. But if you're not somebody who experiences depression, or you don't think that you're currently depressed, or you have depression and it's not happening right now, but you have a lot of really great things happening, or you're really content with where you are right now, but suddenly you're feeling really sad, even though quote unquote nothing is wrong that you have to complain about. There's nothing happening at work, at school, with loved ones, your relationships, and you're just wondering what could this be from? Well, I have found a few different reasons over the course of life just as to why this could be coming up for some folks. So maybe everything is okay and you're like, what is going on? What's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong. I'm supposed to be fine. And so if you're sad all of a sudden and it's hit you like a ton of bricks, then a few different things could be happening. One, let's say you're someone who just achieved a milestone. Let's say you have gotten a new job, you have gotten a promotion, you got into a college, you got into the high school, you got accepted. I don't know what age range is going to be watching this, but this is really for everyone. You ran a 5K, you went outside today, and you just touch grass. That's what people say when you go outside. Those are things that could easily be something that you were very happy about. You've done it consistently, let's say for a week, you feel accomplished. So when we actually feel accomplished, when we hit a goal, when we hit a milestone, when we've accomplished a task, even like let's say washing dishes in the day, you're like, oh, those dishes have been there for a little bit. Let me just go ahead and wash them. If you have completed that task, you get a little hit of something called dopamine in your brain. It is a chemical that's released that is a feel good chemical. It helps you feel accomplished. And so when you have that feeling, you kind of are experiencing a level of excitement. And that is what kind of drives people to do something again, right? So if you feel accomplished for going out to the gym or washing your dishes or folding your clothes, you feel good afterwards. You feel accomplished, not just because you have a clean set of clothes now and it's put away, which like shout out to you because that doesn't always happen with my life. Or you've done your dishes, you've gone to the gym. It could be anything. You've done the task, you feel great, you're gonna do it again. But after a while, ultimately, you can still be doing all these wonderful, great things, but then your brain starts to look for other sources of dopamine because it is a feel good. So you might be coming a little bit down from that. And of course, when you're someone who has been going through the motions of achieving something and you've achieved it, there is a lull that comes down from it. So you may be experiencing this excitement and then things kind of just like slow down a bit, right? Because even if you got a promotion, if you got into a college, even if you got into 30-day stretch of a workout regimen and you've achieved it, you are going to keep going, right? Because you have to go to class next. If you got into college, you have to go ahead and complete the work at your job. You have to, your new promotion, you have to continue to maintain relationships and friendships, right? I know it sounds exhausting when you think of it that way, but keep following along with me. So this chemical imbalance is one of the scientific reasons for why we suddenly feel sad, right? All of a sudden it's not as exciting, even if the next exciting thing is coming in your life. another explanation. So that's one of the things, right? You all of a sudden feel like there's a drop, it's not as exciting because something big has already happened. You can't see the next exciting thing that's going to be happening to you. Of course it will, it's just a matter of time, but it doesn't kind of account for that little middle ground. The other thing that I've also noticed from people, and just like myself even, is that sometimes when you do hit a milestone, when you are somewhere that you wanted to be and you get there and everything is okay and settled, a lot of the things that we hadn't been able to kind of focus on, like anxiety and fear and sadness, really just come up. So you didn't feel safe at one point, because you were too busy. You were trying really to get to this place that you wanted to be. And all of a sudden, you're able to do that. And you are there. So now what? Now your body, the physicality of being human kind of comes up. So when you find yourself in a safer place, or a place that you have already come into what you wanted to happen, then there's a part of you that is now feeling what you couldn't feel before. So maybe you were sad at one point, but you were absolutely focused on getting a promotion. Let's stick with that. When you accomplish that task and you are left with the space to process something, things come up unexpectedly. This could mean a lot of different things, depending on who you are and where you are in your life right now. And one of the things I want to go through is Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. This is a pyramid that essentially illustrates what a person's needs really fall under. And essentially, once you have achieved a need in a category, you then go on into the next one. And there is someone who does a really good job of kind of breaking this down in a way pertaining to stress in everyday life. For me, I'm kind of touching on sadness and what that looks like. So let's say you're somebody who was experiencing an unsafe living situation. As soon as you're able to afford a new space, for example, you might start wondering about your physiological needs. So let's say that apartment didn't have heat or access to hot water. That's your main focus, right? How do I make sure that I am constantly getting a warm bath, or making sure that I have what I need to stay warm? Well, let's say the apartment decides that they're going to be able to fix everything, and they do. Then you might wonder, am I okay here? You want to feel safe and secure. And let's say you are able to, in your world, create a place where you are now safe. You're able to move out of there. You're able to create a new environment. You're able to fix something that changes the way you feel there. You have met a need. And the next step in that is going to be finding love and belonging. So once you feel safe and secure, your basic everyday needs are met. You meet your physiological needs like eating, drinking water, staying warm, right? And then you go into safety. And this is going to be being able to stay safe in your home, enjoy it, feeling like it is your space and no one's coming into it. And then if you are able to achieve all of that, you then go into relationships and belonging. Who am I in this situation? Where do I go on my day-to-day? Where do I belong? Are these group of people my friends? And what does that mean? And if you're able to kind of find a place for yourself, and I think everyone belongs anywhere, but you might not feel like you do, right? You might not feel as though you want to be a part of a group, or you don't feel safe. We're going to go back to that. You don't feel safe in a particular environment, or you just feel like it's a good one. It's just not for you. Then you start kind of shifting around in those relationships and like finding out what works for you. When you've accomplished that, then you start talking about self-esteem. How do I feel where I am? How do I want to feel? Who do I want to be around? How do they make me feel? What do I do with those feelings afterwards? And then if you have a place where you feel safe, where you're able to meet your physiological needs, where you feel like you belong, where you found sort of a wonderful place, then you come into, well, who am I in all of this? I love my friends. I love my family. I love my job. I love where I live, I love all of that. But now what? This is when you start hitting those hierarchies and you of course strive for it and you hit this dopamine, you achieve it. And then comes this realization that there are some things you still don't know. There are some things you still have yet to achieve. And I am not saying that anyone needs to strive for more. What I am saying is that you might be in this place of, I don't know what's going on. To kind of tie it back around, when you have met these different levels, you don't realize how much another level has kind of stayed with you. So if you used to have an apartment you didn't feel safe in and you moved out of, once you have gone ahead and found a wonderful new living environment, you have friends and family who love you, you feel safe around everyone, you start understanding that this is a wonderful place to be, you might still feel really sad because you didn't realize that you were feeling lonely, you were feeling angry, you were feeling scared, you felt a lot of different things that you never had time to process because you were busy, rightfully so, making sure that you are surviving. You're making sure there's food on the table. You are making sure that you continue to maintain relationships that maybe were just getting off the ground. Or maybe you were someone who was already in a lot of loving relationships, but they weren't making you feel good. You didn't know why. And now that they've kind of, or you've kind of moved away from some of them, you're understanding why. Maybe you're grieving the fact that someone was treating you badly for many years. And now you understand that you didn't deserve that. Or you're in a place where you're trying to figure out who you are. Everyone seems to like you and love you and want to be around you. But when you're by yourself, you don't know why. Or you're scared that it might not be true. You are in a different stage of self-discovery. And those stages are valuable. They're valuable and they're important. And of course, they can be reset. You can go back and forth in them. You can be exploring what they all mean. You might even move up from where you are into a completely different state, county, country, anything, and start all over again. But this is going to be important for what you want to do next. And being a little unsure is perfectly normal in all of this. So you may feel sad right now, and there may not be anything quote unquote wrong, but it makes sense. It makes sense for why, depending on where you currently find yourself, and you'll know what that looks like. So what do you do with this? What do you do with this question of, why am I sad? What do I do with the sadness? I would say you would need to do a little bit of investigation for yourself. So ask yourself, what is it that I'm feeling? When does this feeling come up? Who is this feeling coming up around? And what is it, once you identify it, that I can do about it? So if you're somebody who is really sad at work, or I feel really sad after I get off of work, well, is it when you get off of work because you know you're going to go to work again the next day? Or is it because when you get home, you don't feel safe in your environment? It could vary. Why do you feel this way? If it's when you go home and you know you're going to go to work the next day, is it because someone's not making you feel welcome, or you no longer feel fulfilled in that job, or you really just have never liked it? Then what next? Or if it's that you don't want to go home because it's unsafe, then what do we do? How do we address that? Do we need to start saving up for a new apartment deposit? Could be. Do we need to start thinking about moving out? Could be. And then ultimately doing some time traveling, right? If you're really stuck and you're like, I have no idea where to go, what to do, what's going on, do something called time traveling, where you can just kind of bring yourself back to a time where you didn't feel this way. And what elements of that time period do you want to bring in with you? So if you had a really good time in your last job, for example, and now all of a sudden you want to get a new job, the last time you got a new job, it didn't go well, think about what you can include in your next job that has already worked for you in the past and what you do not want in your future job. And sometimes it really is just about feeling it, because part of what sadness can be experiencing a grieving process. So you could be in a wonderful apartment, you could have gotten a wonderful job, you could have gotten everything, but you might feel sad because you lost time. You may have spent some time in a job you weren't appreciated in, and you're sad because Now you feel what appreciation is at your current job, or a sense of fulfillment that you never did, and you could have experienced that all along, but you haven't until now, and you didn't even know that that could have been possible. That could make you sad, and you might be experiencing loss in that way. And those are perfectly valid. There's so much happening, and so many people have so many different experiences that it's easy for us to say that when everything's okay, it's just fine, even though these feelings have come up. And so I hope that you're able to kind of take a little bit of this information and do a little bit of a jumping board for how to take some personal insight into yourself. How do you keep investigating? How do you keep trying to meet your needs? How do you keep going to the next thing? And also, how do you intertwine what is coming up so that you can enjoy what is currently present? And I hope that what we are talking about is something that helps someone out there.